Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people who are impacting lives positively. And yes, we're still celebrating the month of November, which is about celebrating men's health. So this is our part 3. And in this edition, yes, we've gone out of Africa all the way to the UK, London, and we've got 3 young men. Dami Adebayo is a management consultant, and he'll be talking about what health means to him. And we got Arvan as well. He's an IT specialist, and he will be sharing as well some tips, with us about men's health and what he does, for men's, looking after his health. And lastly, but not the least, we've got JJ Adebayo, who is a sport management consultant, and he'll be telling us as well what health means to young people generally and for himself. So yes, the first and the last, they're my sons. I need to make a disclaimer about that. And yeah, the first one is my favorite last born son, I call him, and the last one is my favorite firstborn son. Confusing, huh? But anyway, it's all good. So enjoy. Okay, this is Mama K, and we're still talking about men's health for the month of November. And, okay, I've got this young man. I call him my favorite last-born son. And yeah, he's been saying he's a bit awkward doing this chat, but anyway, you know how we do it. Damsey, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So, tell us about yourself, what you do, and then we'll go on to the next one.
So my name is Dami. I work in consulting, strategy consulting, helping businesses solve all sorts of problems, mainly focused on digital and technology problems.
Okay. So, is your work stressful in any way?
Um, Probably is for the average person,
Okay.
but I try not to let it stress me out.
Okay.
Personally.
So, in that regard, how do you look after your health, especially the stress and juggling, work and social life? How do you do that?
Um, I think by trying to keep them separate where possible, understanding that work is work and ultimately it shouldn't affect your emotions too much. Obviously, it happens sometimes for everyone. Um, but yeah, my social life. Obviously, I also have friends at work, so sometimes they do mix in. But my friends at work, I rarely work on a project directly with. So in consulting, it's a bit different in terms of you work on various different projects every 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And each project is with a new group of people, so you learn with them. But it feels quite, you can keep it quite separate because my friends at work I rarely actually work with. Um, but then it's nice to have people at work that you can speak to about the different problems and stresses and things that you face, so that you realize it's not just you.
Okay. So, do you think men talk a lot about their health or don't talk at all? With your friends, you talk about, oh, okay, today I had a headache, or I was having this problem, or I feel stressed, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. Do you think, you men have that kind of conversation?
Um, well, I can't generalize for my entire gender,
Mm-hmm.
but I think.
Don't, I know you can't generalize for your
But you asked me,
gender.
do I think men? I can speak for me.
Okay, speak for you. Let's hear you then.
I rarely get headaches. I rarely feel super anxious. And when you say, do I speak about it? Do you mean to other men or to
Yeah.
only to other men? Yeah, I mean,
Where you talk about,
I would.
last week I was a little bit anxious, or, because the myth maybe is that men don't talk about health because you're supposed to be macho and you're supposed to be, oh, okay, just get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, we perhaps don't always frame it as, oh, last week I was anxious, but oh, last week this happened. It's still a conversation that's had, I'd say. I think the whole toxic masculinity thing dying out pretty quickly.
Okay.
I think.
You think it's
I
dying
think
out?
so, but
Okay.
that's for me. I know it probably still exists.
Maybe for your age group. No way.
You never know. I can't speak on their behalf. I'm 24.
You're 24, so you're still very young,
Yes.
and you're just coming up to being a man, or you're a man now. Don't worry, it's because it's my son. We spoke about this earlier, so okay, don't worry, we'll move on. So now, what do you do for your health? How do you look after your health?
I think I wouldn't say I do anything explicit. I'm not consciously saying, okay, I need to do this for my health. But I think I try and understand. I try and make sure that I'm communicating how I'm feeling with the people around me. I try and make sure I communicate how I'm feeling with my team at work. I think, constantly questioning or taking stock and appreciating the things that you've accomplished, the things that you struggle to do is important. I'm trying to make more of an effort to talk about my accomplishments rather than the stresses and challenges I face, and hopefully that will bring me more.
So what do you do to keep fit?
What do I do to keep fit? I play sports. I play football and basketball. I cycle to work every day.
You've got the height for the basketball. How tall are you again?
How tall am I? I'm 6'5".
Okay, so yes. Basketball, football.
Yes.
And what else do you do?
So those are my two main sports.
Okay.
I cycle.
You cycle.
That's pretty much it.
It seems that's a trend in London. Everybody seems to cycle. Is that a trend that is coming up, or just a few people, young ones?
No, I'd say it's a trend. I think in lockdown everybody wanted to get out somehow, and cycling was a nice way to do that. Bike sales went up ridiculously during lockdown.
Right. So you cycle in the morning and back from work. How long roughly each way?
It takes me about 25 minutes to get to work and 25 minutes to come back.
Oh, that's good. So in terms of your diet, do you do anything, in terms of what you eat, what you drink, or anything goes?
I try and be conscious of my diet. I drink a lot of water. Always. I don't really drink anything apart from water, to be honest. And then food wise, the older I've gotten, I think the better my diet's gotten. Growing up, I don't think I ate that many vegetables. It wasn't really a common thing at my household.
Yeah. It wasn't a common thing in your household. No, I need to let to the secret of this one. Dami used to tell us he was allergic to vegetables. Yeah. No, not allergic. You were, there was a term you used to
I was a meatitarian.
Yeah, or something, like that. So, okay, so you still don't eat vegetables?
No, as I was just saying, I eat vegetables now.
Oh, okay.
Growing up, I used to say I was a meatitarian, and I guess my parents just didn't give me vegetables because I said that, so...
We'll pretend we didn't hear that. This is Mama K, and we're still talking about men's health for the month of November. And I've got with me a young, dynamic man who is called Arvan, who will be telling us about what he does, who he is, and what he does for his health. So, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Mama K. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Tell us about yourself first. Your name, what you do. I probably didn't pronounce it
No, you got it proper. Bang on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. My name is Arvan. Born and bred in London, South London.
Okay.
I work in advertising, so I'm part of the client services team. And my job is to ensure smooth delivery of all creative projects.
Right.
It span from marketing, advertising, whether it's campaign work, whether it's longer tasks like digital, web builds, that kind of stuff. But my role is to really understand my clients' requirements. And then pass it on to my internal teams who crack on with the work.
Awesome. Was that what you studied in school?
No, I studied automotive design in school.
I thought as much.
Yeah.
So that's a big change.
You can tell by the cars and the bikes. There's a lot of wheels in the house.
So how come you changed from that to what you're doing now?
Well, I mean, studying when you're 17 years old and needing to know what to do at university, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. What I did know is that I loved cars, I loved design, and I thought, let's study car design.
Awesome.
So we did that.
Okay.
It was a 4-year course. From my 3rd year, I realised it wasn't quite for me. What I liked was the consultancy aspect of what I did.
Right.
The design aspect I wasn't that good on. But what I was good at was consulting and understanding the business needs for design.
Okay.
And that's where I took myself into the advertising world. So I joined automotive companies, so Kia and Hyundai.
Right.
I started working with the agencies behind those. And we determined, we face a lot of challenges as to why is there a requirement for the advertising and the marketing needs. Whether it's a new car launch, whether it's a rebrand, whether we need to adjust the tone of voice, how we speak to consumers. That's what I get interested in. So that was my, if you like, expertise.
Right.
And there's an aspect of that in car design at university. But a lot of it was also the actual design work, which I now have a team that does that. So
now let's go to the month of November, which generally in some places it's about raising an awareness of men's health. I can see some bikes and a few bikes actually.
There's a lot of bikes.
There's a lot of bikes here. No, by the way, we're in London. Yeah, Impact Africa is going overseas. What do you do for your health? What do you do in terms of staying fit?
I do a lot. So I'm very conscious of the world that we live in and the amount of stress that gets put on 20-something-year-olds, right? Especially in London, there's a lot of stigma as to how you should act and how you should be, and it's simple things that we get taught in our working world, like presenteeism. So it's the idea of being at work, showing your face is good, but in reality, it's not. It's just something that gets spoken about. There's no real fundamental value to it.
Right.
In terms of what I do to keep myself in check, here's the basics, right? So exercising, I'll be in the gym in the mornings before work. Before work, that's just as good as coffee.
Wow.
In fact, sometimes better than coffee.
Okay.
Just means I pass out about 10 p.m, but yeah, it's fine. Cycling.
Okay.
So it's, for me, cycling to work and from work is my zen time. It's my time where I don't have to focus.
How long does it take you to cycle to work?
About 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not a lot.
Okay.
But as you can see, I've got
Each
plenty
way.
of bikes.
I can see
yeah.
that. So each way 20 minutes back. Yeah. Wow.
So for me, that in the mornings, it's great because, I get ready, put on my jacket, get on my bike, and that 20-minute time before work is my time to sort of think about what my task is ahead. How's my day looking? And then even just cycling home as well. That's my time to completely switch off and think, okay, it's just me and my bike and the roads.
So it's like a mental thing, not just about the physical. So
it's not just physical. Physical is just an added bonus. But for me, the cycling is the biggest part for keeping me calm, knowing when to switch off from work.
Okay.
And then I get home and I'm ready to cook dinner and hang out with Jay.
The myth is, or maybe it's not a myth, but a lot of people say men normally don't like talking about their health, especially if they're unwell or they don't like going for checkups. Like once you get to an age, you're supposed to start checkups regularly. What do you think? What's your view of that?
So the stigma around men not talking about health and mental health is still prevalent. Yeah. It still happens a lot. What I try to do amongst my friendship group and family members is that I know when some people might not feel comfortable talking about what they're going through in their lives, but I'll make a conscious effort to talk to them about my life.
Okay.
And say, this is what I'm stressed out about, this is what I'm worried about.
So you share your story, my story, what's going on with you.
In the hopes that it opens up conversation for them to then speak about it as well.
Okay.
And I think millennials, so my age group, we're getting
What age are you?
29.
Okay.
29.
All right.
So we're getting better at it. I think with what we see in social media, there's a lot of bad, but at the same time, there's a lot of good. And what I'm talking about in the good aspect is that it helps men understand that there is a platform to talk about your feelings, right? Whether it's on social media or not, it's giving you the idea and the points that you need to know to understand how and where you can open up that conversation. And I think we are, as a society, getting better at it. You compare it to previous generations where it's been more difficult for men to do that. I think now we're getting better at it. Yeah. And it's about having good friends around you, good family, people that want to hear you and want to hear what you're going through. And I think a lot of that can get misconcepted by the fact that you hang out with people that don't necessarily want to hear about your life. They're hanging out with you for a certain reason.
True.
Those people you need to let go.
I'm hearing more of that now.
Yeah.
If they don't add value to your life, you need to stay away.
Maybe it's an age thing, but as you get older, at least definitely 28, 29, as I've got older, I've phased out the people in my life that don't really benefit my life.
I think you're supposed to start that at 50, not 29. That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, I live a happy life for it, so...
So you need to have more happier life, because it's important, and in this season that we're all in around the world with COVID, and the impact it has negatively, mostly in countries, we all need to look after our health, and our mental health, is a key one, and more so for men. So what else can be done? That's my final question now. What else can be done, to encourage more younger ones and even the older one to, at an age, to start checking their blood pressure, their sugar, and things like that. So what else can be done?
I think first and foremost is to limit your social media intake, or if you do use social media, understand that it's not a basis for you to compare yourself with other people.
Right.
A lot of people I've spoke to, a lot of people close to me, have gone through mental health issues, and a lot of it, the fundamental issue is down to social media.
And so that means social media is a good thing and at the same time a bad thing.
It is, and that's the difficult thing, right? So I work in advertising where social media is just one channel, one of many channels that we work in. I've seen the bad side and I've also seen the beneficial side. But the bad side is going on Instagram and looking at men, women, these people that live these fancy lifestyles, and you think, I need that.
And it's a life most of the time just behind the keyboard.
And that's what it is. I know people very close to me, at least they were very close to me, that lived a very normal life, but on Instagram they'll post every week pictures of them at the beach, but that in reality they're in an office in London, literally 2 desks away from me. And it's that basis of you comparing yourself, and a lot of youth are now, they look on social media, they compare themselves to friends, to people. LinkedIn is really bad as well, because you look at people your age and you think, I'm not quite at that level in my life, in my career.
I would have thought LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is it had a purpose. I feel like it's more like social media now. But it's just a comparison. I think for me, the way to deal with a lot of the issues that you have mental health wise can be done with limiting your social media intake.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. I don't know. I'm just trying to think now of, you waking up in the morning, going first to the gym, then going to work, then wow. So you've got it all sorted, and you've got people. Sorry,
I wouldn't say all sorted.
All sorted. Okay, well, it's getting there. Okay, is there anything health-wise for you that maybe, in terms of your family history, I don't know that, not necessarily want to go there, but or friends or other people that that maybe you're scared of, that you're worried that, this is there. Will I? Because we know cases of people who do exercise, but at the same time do have health challenge later on. Is there anything for you?
For people that don't exercise and aren't interested, I think for me another aspect is the exercise of breathing.
Okay.
Right? And that comes from yoga. So throughout lockdown last year, I got made redundant. I was unemployed for 3 months. And it was a tough, at the same time it was good to let go of previous roles, but at the same time I didn't know where I was at. For me, exercising yoga and getting into that practice and understanding how your breathing works and simple things that I still do now in my day-to-day work.
Okay.
It's just taking in a deep breath, thinking it through, clearing your mind.
And that calms you.
And
I've heard of the deep breath and yoga thing.
Just a deep breath can solve a lot of things, a lot of problems.
I've heard that. Yeah, I need to do more of that. It's just being able to slow down to do the.
Yeah, because our life is so chaotic, right? So especially in the work way, when you've got a lot of things happening at the same time, you're working hour to hour.
Right.
Sometimes I just take a moment to myself and just a few breaths.
And it helps.
Clear your mind, get back into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much, Arvan, for having us here, and we'll see you later.
So here's my road racer. This I use for exercising. It's a pretty fast bike, so I can do about 40 miles an hour top on this, which is very fast. On wheels that thin, it's kind of scary, but that's what I get a kick out of. This one here is my day-to-day bike. I take this to work, I take this to see friends. I can park it in the city and I don't mind if it gets stolen. And then here is my beach cruiser. This is designed for cruising on the beaches in California, and I've always been a fan of that style. So now I have one in London.
Hello, this is Mama K and welcome to Impact Africa, and we're still talking about celebrating men's health, and I've got a young, handsome, promising, active, intelligent, oh no, don't let me go on. Okay, I have a stake in this. It's my son, our firstborn, favorite one, JJ Adebayo. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Wow, this is weird, huh? Me and you doing this and talking about health. Tell us about yourself first. Who is JJ?
I don't know. I mean, that's not even a good answer. I'm me, I'm your son. That's probably the best I can do. I'm JJ Adebayo. I was born in Scotland to Nigerian parents. I moved to Cape Town, South Africa when I was 14. American International School curriculum. So I guess I'm a melting pot of culture and experience and things like that. That's probably
Who JJ is.
Yeah, it's probably the best.
Okay,
the best
I will go more to ask you about things, about all that. But let's move on. So, born in Scotland, schooled in Cape Town, and then moved to London, and you're working. So, what do you do at the moment?
I work for Formula E. It's the sort of single-seater electric car racing, and I work in partnerships, and I do strategy and planning for the business in a sense.
Okay. Since we're talking about men's health, what do you do, or what do you know or think about men's health? When I say men's health, what do you think? What does that mean to you?
I mean, if you're talking, health is mental health. Are you talking men's health or mental health or
everything? Everything about men's health.
I don't think it can be defined as just men's health. It's just health and well-being at that point. And then from my perspective, it's just whatever sort of channels that you can be healthy in, mind, body, soul. It's just addressing that in whatever formality you want. So if it's the gym for the body, if it's religious ventures for the soul, and then if it's being a student, reading books, going to school for the mind, then these are the ways that you maintain health or address health in these sort of factors.
And what do you do to look after your health? All three: mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul is like the sort of the nice term. It's different for each person. I don't think I say mind, body, and soul, but I don't think I think in those sort of like places. For me, it's just
I think I work seasonal. You know what I need in that period of time that works for me, that addresses any one of those compartments. Um, in terms of if it's the mind, that it's, you know, reading or watching documentaries, which I actually don't do much of. But that's my point. I choose certain times to enter that realm because I maybe feel like I need it or it interests me at that point. But it's not a continuous thing. I might actually not need to, you know, like address my mind. It might be a body sort of thing. And then I go to the gym, I play sports with my friends. But there's no right way to do things. Like someone else who is addressing these factors in their life might just stay home. I like staying home on the weekends, and that might help them recoup any of those things. It might be good for their mind, body, or soul. So there's no sort of like, I could sit here and talk all day, but my way of addressing my own sort of health is different from the next person.
Yeah, obviously, but generally, men, I know I'm generalizing, men don't normally talk about health, especially to do with mental health. Whether they're telling their body, oh, how are you? And the normal thing is people feel when you ask, how are you? Fine. So meanwhile, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're depressed or sad, going through a kind of, mental health challenge at that time. And, men generally don't talk. Do you agree with it, or what do you think about that?
I agree in the sense that it used to be like that. I think it's progressing to, you know, men being open about their own sort of state of minds, their own state of body, maybe addressing that, you know, we as men, and I'm not saying all of these are reserved for women as well, like of, you guys are, well, women are constantly thinking about these things, like it's not, it doesn't discriminate, but maybe that's a societal thing where it's, it's a societal thing, right? It's moving away now because, a lot of people are trying to take the patriarchy down. Men aren't viewed as, we're not supposed to be, we shouldn't be viewed as solely breadwinners and all these things. The expectations of a man is lessening now, not for everyone. Okay. But because
so that's a generational thing.
I think it's a generational thing. Like you have, was it the baby boomer generation that was all about hard work through the industrial revolution and no time to talk about feelings. Your wife stays at home, makes food for the kids. You go out, you go to the mines. You come back. You're all grog. You don't have time to talk to your wife, and so that's the older generation. I think nowadays, like it's healthier for, like, men are in a better place to speak about these things freely. I mean, Arvan's in the room, he's off camera, but we had discussions throughout last year about all the things that, we're not talking mental health aside here, but just things that even men just don't talk about. And so a lot of the things that was happening in the news, like the racism aside, but like the fear that women going through, what happened in here with the policeman in Clapham, we talked about that, and we that is happening more so now than it used to. Okay. And although me and Arvin don't align with, like, horrible men, we still chat about it. So, and I know I just like deviated from mental health, but it's just like, we're just talking more. But in terms of why you think mental health and men hasn't, like, come to the forefront, it's the societal standards. Okay. Like it's, like other men may view other men as weak because they're letting their feelings come to the forefront, and that wall, I think, is coming down. In some places it's still like up, but generally I think men are talking.
So what more can be done to break the wall further? Because I believe more still needs to be done.
What can you do? I mean, what has been done in the past? I mean, you're talking to me in November, right? You're thinking maybe November, and people use that as the 1 month to address men's health. Like, doesn't really impact. 1 month out of 12 doesn't really impact.
So it needs to be done.
I don't think so. I think there's flashpoints in time that require discussion. Time is probably the biggest healer, but it's probably the biggest progressor of all things. I mean, think about the start of time and where we are now. So, like I said, the baby boomer generation, what has changed much other than it just being transparent and people talking more? There's no legislator that can change anything. There's no doctrine from a governmental standpoint. It's just people discussing, and then sooner or later, people are more accepting of these things. Like, sure, there's been, unless there's no law in place that blockades like people talking about mental health. If you think about other countries like South Africa, the US, there was blockades, lawful blockades in front of like racial integration. But mental health, there's, it just sits in this own sort of issue. And there's nothing that governmentally can change that addresses that. So it's just about the wider demographic just being open to conversations. And that's it. Okay. You shouldn't put pressure on it to advance it forward. It will just gradually get to the place where, and it happens with gender fluidity and like people being more acceptable of that demographic. It's just some of it's been lawful, and like people have gone to like great lengths to push that agenda, not agenda, but that sort of like play. But something like mental health, all you can do is talk about it. I don't think there should be any pressure on it.
Okay, so for you, what do you do apart from exercise and so on? What else do you do to look after your health?
I think the thing that people don't do is, and I say this across a lot of things, not just mental health, but just like where you're at, people don't take stock of their life as their life goes on. It's kind of just one direction. You're going forward. There isn't a lot of people don't pause and look at the surroundings. You don't take in the serene scenery. You don't take stock of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So I kind of just choose junctures to just like take a step back, look at everything that I've got in my life, be grateful for the good things, and then look at the things that don't work for me. And then I just choose certain periods to just say, you know what, this is the time for me. I'm going to focus on like chilling at home. That could be my direction. My direction could be, seeing people all the time because I feel like I need to connect. It could be that like I said, it could be just gymming all the time. It could be any of these things, but it's making it vocal for yourself. It's saying, I'm making this decision. I'm choosing this time to address what I want to address, rather than be on sort of this wave of like the rest of the world where you just feel it's one direction and everyone's moving at the same pace, and you just always have to be moving forward. Time is relative to you, so you need to take the time to relate it back to you and then address whatever you address. And that's generally what I do in a nutshell.
So do you do any form of sport?
Yeah, I'm injured, but I'm coming back.
You're injured?
The lifestyle got to me. The knee gave way once you hit the ripe old age of 27. Like it just things just happen along the way. But no, I'm aiming to play football next week. I'm aiming to play more basketball. Those are things that work for me, like the team aspect. It's not even a competition. It's just being around, your friends and similar-minded people, just enjoying like physical activity, sports. So yeah, that's generally what I try and do to.
And that because I know you and you're my son, I know we started you very young with fitness and exercise, with taekwondo, rugby and everything at a young age. Do you think that has helped you, in your love and passion and commitment to staying fit and keeping fit?
I mean, let's flip it a little bit, because I don't think you and Dad can own that, because I think I was the one that may have looked at a lot of martial arts on screen and think I want to do that, and then you guys have been the best parents in terms of facilitating those things. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you didn't ingrain them in me. You empowered us, and Dami, you empowered me and my brother to do those things, but I don't think you pushed us in that direction. If anything, I think we found a direction and then you encouraged it. I mean,
that is really debatable. If we don't take you there anyway, let's not go there. Let's move forward.
Well, I think it is though. Like you gave us the freedom of thought and the freedom to do anything. A lot of kids, when you're young, and Dami will attest to this, when you're between the ages of like 1 and 10, generally, I saw this a lot growing up. Parents force their kids to go outside and play. Like that is just the norm, you know. Like when kids are indoors, you're like, go outside and play. You didn't say that once, so you didn't really encourage anything. You just kind of not let us like run around wild, but we wanted to become nerds and stay inside and play video games all day. I think you would have been okay with that if we were just TV watchers all day and night. I think you would have been okay with that. If that's what we decided to do, that's what you probably would have allowed.
Okay, but do you enjoyed all this?
Yeah, of course. I didn't. Yeah, of course.
Okay, what about your diet? How is that?
It's up and down.
Okay.
And it's also a seasonal thing. So it's coming up to winter time. You've got to pack on the pounds a little bit to stay warm in this country. So
really?
Yeah, I had double chips at Nando's today, and you're thinking, wow, I also had a half chicken at Nando's and chicken gravy, and then you're thinking I was just out at dinner with you, and you just had like, what did I have? Ribs, rice, and Turkish pizza.
Some bread.
Yeah, so it's all about enjoyment in this time.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up now. You've heard it all from Mr. J. Solutions there, what he does, and all about enjoyment for winter time in UK, because we're recording live from London, and it's been a great pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, I am just fascinated with these three young men, what they're doing, in terms of exercise and how they're looking after their health. And I hope you've been encouraged in a little way, even if you can't cycle, because I know they're all fanatics, with cycling. Just find a sport, passion that you love, and you could hear, what they said there, something they love doing, from basketball, football, some form of exercise, going to the gym, whatever works for you, at the end of the day. And it is important, as men to definitely look after your health. Please, this is important. Thank you to JJ Adebayo, to Arvan Tamana, and to Dami Adebayo for your time. I know it was short notice. Signing off all the way from London. This is Mama K. Till next time. God bless. Stay blessed. Love you all.